You're a conservative, aren't you, Doug?
That's what it says on the title.
Loving, compassionate, conservative. So you support gay marriage?
I am indifferent to it. To me, I think gay marriage is like a feelings thing. Why can't I get married if you heterosexuals can do it? To
You
me,
think
it's
gays should be able to adopt?
lesbians, no, gay men, maybe.
Why?
Can you guess my rationalization for that?
Let me think, because it's usually the opposite. um,
Think of divorce rates.
because women initiate divorce more, so
Lesbians,
are more likely to have unstable relationships than two men.
yes. I wish they would actually do perform a study on this, but it's so politically charged. No one would believe the results in either direction. But I actually think that if you were to do a fair study on outcomes based, maybe there is a fair study out there based on lesbian couples, gay couples, and heterosexual couples,
Who lasts
that the
the longest?
heterosexual couples would win out. The gay couples would be second, and the lesbian would be third.
Okay, but I mean, back to the question: do you think that let's say, two gay men should be able to adopt children
Should be able to adopt. Yeah,
legally?
legally, yeah, but I would say that's not my first choice. So in other words,
Well, no, of
if
course not. That's what adoption is. It's people, these are kids we're not the first choice. So it better to have two
no, in
parents
other
than
words,
one.
I'm okay with the gay people being sad and saying, okay, there's a heterosexual couple here. We're going to give the baby to them first, and
Sure,
and
but
the gay
that's
man can go
yeah,
cry for
okay,
all I
yes.
care.
If there were no children in adoption homes, um, then
So in other words, I think
son of a
gays
bitch.
should have lower priority than heterosexual couples.
Hold on one sec.
Without, and I say that without shame, because I think, and I'm an atheist, and I'll say that I think we have evolved, male and female, to procreate in this way for a reason, and it brings up children in a better way.
So my most right wing, well, people would disagree perhaps, but I think my most right wing position is that I do not think that gay couples should be allowed to do surrogacy. I do not think. I think it should be absolutely. I don't think that
Gay, meaning
anyone.
two men.
Yeah, meaning I do not. This, and it wouldn't just be for gay men. I guess this would be for other people. Although you could in heterosexual couples, it's different. Although maybe not. No one should be. No one should intentionally create a child with the intention of stripping that child from its mother within the first like day of it being born.
Yeah,
That I think is that is abusive. I think for
yeah,
the
I
child,
agree.
and we know that.
Although I can imagine situations where it would be okay.
Yeah, if the
Like if
mom
the
is a heroin addict,
Yeah,
correct.
or
But
let's say we're almost to extinction, and we need to just pump out babies like crazy from very
sure,
highly fertile women or whatever. Yeah,
like Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, but my most right wing belief is I don't believe in surrogate. Now the question is for heterosexual couples. Probably not either. I don't even think heterosexual couples should be allowed. I think IVF is fine because it's still the mom isn't or aren't your kids IVF?
both my kids are test tube babies. Yep.
And your wife was able to still breastfeed them and stuff, right? Or no?
Yeah, of course. IVF
Well,
doesn't remove your breasts. That's transgender
no, I know
therapy.
that, but I'm saying I didn't know if I guess because IVF is it incubates somewhere else and then it gets implanted into the
Yeah, I
uterus.
wasn't around when my kids were conceived.
Can I adopt just a kid like right now?
You could try, but you
Am I legally
you're
allowed to?
unemployed, and the only thing you got for going for you is your hair. So I
That's
don't think
true.
they would.
That's true. Do you think transgender adults should be able to transition?
Um, I lean a little bit libertarian in
All right.
some political issues, so I'm okay with that. But I still think society has a obligation. If let's say we got a highly, let's say level 3 autistic person who wants to
Yep.
transition, then you can say, no, you're not cognizant enough to make that choice.
I agree. I'm changing the title of the stream to "Two White Guys Explain the Correct Perspectives on LGBT Issues." Switch from racism.
Well, when it comes to the
Um,
transgender issue,
the
there's
transgender
no
question.
there's almost no reason to even talk about it anymore because we won that one.
Yeah, correct. It's the overwhelming evidence is just going to continue to pile up. The detransitioners mainly. Yeah, the surgery on children is disgusting.
I think as a society, we need to um, do the opposite of what we've done, especially in the last administration. You know, the whole gay pride thing, whatever. We need to advertise and promote heterosexual relationships more, and be okay with having the gay and lesbians be sad. And here's why.
They don't have to be sad.
Well, I say it in that way just to let them know how much I don't care. Because our birth rates are going down.
I know. I'm 28, Doug, and I got no children prospects.
What's
on the
wrong with you?
horizon.
What, you don't like women? You got
No,
seven brothers, and are you right?
I told you. Nobody loves black women more than I do. Okay. The problem
No
is
black woman will have you.
Well, it's more of a matter of you got to find the right person. And I've asked you this: how nobody works. Everyone works from home. I'm also unemployed, but that's part of the reason I quit. It's like, well, I might as well fucking do that. So it's very difficult to meet women who don't just want to
go to church.
Yeah, but I don't want a cultist. Didn't I tell you this already?
You don't have to go to a cult like church. Just go like everyday.
Yeah, but the kind of person that goes to church regularly and does like the youth group types, not the youth group.
There are women like you
ministry
who go to church who really don't believe anything
that would be the ideal. The ideal woman would be someone who like goes to church every now and then and like believes in it.
My guess is 50% of the people who go to church don't really believe what the pastor or priest is saying. They just go for the community. They just go for the community. And the joy, the ambiance, the music, whatever.
The ambiance. It's funny you say that because I actually, I told you I have a good relationship with the back in Dallas with one of the Presbyterian pastors there that I would get coffee with. We discuss matters of theology, and he hooked me up with someone here in Austin. I'm gonna go.
There you go.
Meet up with them and discuss theology there. And then, got any ladies here? Hey, by the way, while we're talking about the nature of God, we're talking about triune God.
But my kids have the same problem you do. My kids are good looking, but they just have, like, because of social media, and it's just very tough. And they don't go to church. It's very tough to meet people.
Yeah.
I even offered both my kids, they got 30 days. I made it a game. You got 30 days to have a date. And dad's paying everything. So you can go to a nice fancy restaurant, whatever. Dad's paying. But
they don't tell them that, right? They don't.
Yeah, you don't tell them.
You don't have to tell your date that my dad's paying.
But it's on me. And so you got 30 days to find. And both my kids just like,
It's tough. It's tough.
Like back in my day.
Well, I would say it's not difficult to find like short-term hookups, but I have found that makes me so utterly depressed. It's a hard.
Yeah, you want a relationship.
Yeah. The experience of having sex with someone and then within 1 minute.
What? You had sex before marriage?
It was quick. It was fine. It doesn't count. But the experience of having sex with someone and then within like a minute being like, I'm disgusted by this person. I want them out of my plate. It's like, it's soul crushing. It's bad. And yeah, I want kids. I need to contribute
to society. Yeah,
exactly. I feel a great sense of responsibility.
I think if you are a heterosexual couple and have kids, you should pay no income taxes for like a decade.
I kind of
tax the lesbians and the gays,
because people say that you can't use financial incentives like that to change the birth rate, and the evidence does look like that's the case. It does not look
that it won't work.
In Hungary, I don't think it's made a difference because that's where they go.
But I think my idea would work, and that is, like, advertising does work. You manipulate people's emotions and feelings through advertising, and you can do the same thing.
I don't know. It's an
So
intrinsic
get rid of
desire to
the
be in
rainbow flags
a
and
romance.
promote heterosexual,
Oh,
normal,
I will
white
say,
picket house fence type relationships.
I do think that. I do think that. Well, this is the classic like red pill point of like women have been told that they can sleep around just as well. Actually, this is not a red pill point because the red pill people are degenerate. This is a normal enlightened centrist point, which is instead of fostering a culture where we say, honestly, guys, if you're in college and like high school is probably that's probably too early. If you're in college and you're young and you're experimenting, okay, fine, you can do the hookup stuff. That probably is. I don't want to endorse that, but it's not. It's better than the Victorian, like ultra conservative, don't do anything sexual at all because that suppresses things. But what we should have done as a culture is say, once you're like men who sleep around like a ton, that's as degenerate as women who sleep around as ton, right?
No, it isn't.
Yeah, how is it? What are you talking about?
Come on, Paul. You know better than this.
Please explain. Using your own. I thought this was a point you would avidly agree with.
If you agreed
men
earlier,
who's go ahead.
You agreed earlier that women are the gatekeepers to sex, to coitus, right? Unless it's rape, right? So it is very easy for a woman to sleep around and have, let's say, 100 sexual intercourse moments in a week. Yeah. Where for a man, that is, unless you're like Brad Pitt, for a man, the average man, that is difficult, if not impossible.
Unless you got hair like this.
So don't put them on an evil playing field. This is the reason why the word slut has meaning, and there's not really an equivalent for males. Because a woman who's average, she doesn't have to be gorgeous, but if she's like, as long as she's not ugly, if she wants sex, she can get it.
Yeah,
but a man can't.
Here's what I say. I would say a man,
unless he pays for it,
especially like an older man, like 30, 35 plus, who does not have a family. If a 35, or even, I don't know, even late 20s, if I met someone my age who had the attitude of like, dude, I fucked this blonde the other day, and it's like, you're a 28-year-old man, you have no family, like you're a degenerate, you offer nothing for society, and you actually contribute to the culture of degeneracy. Why would you not put as much shame on? Why would you not want to, according to your model of advertising homosexuality?
I'm not saying both are bad, but what I was just
you just disagreed with me on that.
I was just pushing back that they're both equally bad, because it is far easier for a woman to get this, and if she does, that's worse. It's like what's a good analogy?
Sure, but I don't know.
It's like stealing is bad, right? But
yep.
Stealing a pen is not quite as bad as, or it's not as bad as stealing a car.
Analogy. You can feel
when a woman has coitus,
I can feel that you feel how terrible of an analogy that is.
No, this is a great analogy. No, when a woman has sex, like sleeps around, it's like stealing a pen. Bad.
Okay, it just.
But it's easy.
It just seems like, hey, how about we all agree that if you want a meaningful life, it's probably best to have kids and have a long-term monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
And actually what you'll find, and I do believe Jordan Peterson is correct on this, which is partly why I'm against as well. There's I won't go into another thing, but it's like the more that you learn to view people as objects, the worse it is for you later on in life. In terms of like, I think the number one predictor of whether or not someone will, I don't know if the number one, a high predictor of whether or not someone will cheat in a long-term relationship is how many previous partners they've had before.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I've heard that too. I have had zero. I was a virgin until I got married at age 22. Okay.
There you go. And I believe it is the case that the people who have report the highest sexual satisfaction as of 2025 are married couples in long-term relationships. Yeah. That's the people who are having the best sex right now, which is like, I don't know. It is. I think it is. I will say. I think it fosters a sense of sociopathy to view, at least. And I here to your point. I do think it's different for men and women. I think that women have a harder time separating emotion from sex.
Yes,
I think that's true.
You are correct, sir.
And so I think actually men do have a greater responsibility to not manipulate women into having
But
sex.
this is where
And here's
having
and here's the thing: every woman would agree, of course, men shouldn't manipulate women into having sex, but manipulation includes like implying that they would be interested in a long-term relationship when they're not actually, right? Like, God, I love spending time with you. You're so great. It's
yeah.
so fun. And it's like there's even
This is
some
where
truth to that.
fatherhood comes in. This is where good fatherhood comes in, because when a woman wants sex with a man, oftentimes, not always, but she's looking for something else. She's looking for love and companionship. But if you have a good father figure in the home, that need and desire is less needed, because
Yeah,
she
I
has a
think
masculine figure that's protecting her, caring for her, not in a sexual way or anything, but that need is less
yeah, it's
there.
classic Freud. It's classic
Yeah,
Freud
it's classic
and
Freud, and this is why the African
psychoanalysis. But
American
that's true.
community has been demolished, because
Got to make it
fathers
about
outside
race.
the
Had to
home.
old white man had to make it about. We were just talking about gays. We were just talking about the gays and the
What
straights
about
having
gay
sex.
black African Americans? Like that, no, that's a problem.
Nobody loves gay black African Americans more than I do.
Here's an interesting thing. Back in 1990, the question was, if you can hear me, Paul,
Yeah,
is
I can hear you.
my view on pornography. Back in 1990, when the internet was just getting going, I remember and people saying free porn, online porn is going to increase violence against women.
Yeah,
Rape will go up, all that. The reverse happened.
I believe I believe it is the case that when you introduce pornography into a community, rates of sexual assault go down.
Yeah, but here's the downside. That's the good side about pornography. You can actually save women's lives. The downside is young men today, what reason do they have to take risks of rejection and asking a woman out, creating a relationship and having a sexual relationship that's based on something more than just your body, if they can
Yeah,
just be at home, you know?
yeah. Well, the risk. You say, wait. What was the question? What's the incentive?
Yeah, like if
Because
a
because because it's not a real relationship.
I know, but a lot of men don't even want a real relationship. All they want is an
Is that
orgasm.
true? Hold on,
Well,
wait. A lot of 20 years old, fine. I
yeah, that's
don't.
what I'm talking about.
But I'm talking about like late 20s and 30s, like
Yeah,
my
then it
age.
changes, of
If I
course.
meet, here's what I'll tell you: if I meet a man my age, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want, dude, fuck a family. Like, I don't want a family. Like, I want to fuck around." I'm like, "Okay, you are like pity. I would feel pity." Um,
Although I said I agreed with you
yeah,
at later in life, but I'm not so sure. I might take that back, because was it Freud or Einstein who said that true love can only happen between two men? And what he was getting at there was not homosexuality, but
platonic friendship.
that like the army guys and the foxholes and so forth. Like, if who do you think you could relate to
Is your
more?
wife your best friend, or do you have a male best friend?
I have both. Well, I would say, okay, best.
Who's your
Yeah, I would say my wife's the best friend, but
okay?
but let me caveat that. Like, if I
Yeah,
had to spend an hour talking deeply about a whole range of topics and not fear of offending my wife, I would rather talk to a male, that my male
that's
best
fine.
friend.
That's like saying I would rather play golf with the people who enjoy
Yeah,
playing golf.
yeah.
That's fine.
And,
That
and
but
so
that
that's
doesn't
what I
change
think
the
Einstein
fundamental.
was. That's what Einstein was getting
Well,
at.
I think that's okay. I think Einstein was wrong on that, because I would imagine a man and woman. You said like the point was like the foxhole thing. It's like a husband and wife can go through turmoil together. Like, for example, if they have a sick child and they go through
Yeah, but
some
men are from
major thing.
Venus and women are from Mars. You've read that book or heard about it, right?
Greasy Geimer, go for guts or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck it
it's
is, right?
like men and women are built differently,
Of course.
right? And so a man and a man can bond in a certain way that a woman and a man can't. Not all the time, of course, there's exceptions. And same with a woman and a woman. Like, for
Yeah.
example, if my wife needs consoling, she's actually better off going to her best girlfriend than me.
Yeah, sure.
Vaccines.
No, no, I think astrology can be useful as a functional tool.
what I don't get with this vaccine issue is why
All right, hold
people.
on. Let's just no. Don't even. Let me just answer the question straight up.
Okay.
Is it unreasonable to think that maybe vaccines cause autism?
No, it's not unreasonable
I agree. Do
because
you
it's
think they
not
cause
a.
autism?
It's no. I don't think the evidence supports it, but it's not unreasonable to ask the question and to investigate it.
I agree. I knew that was going to happen. What do
So
you think
we're
of the
agreed.
mRNA shots? I'm on list. My new thing is I'm enlisting the streams
Okay.
afterwards, like I said.
Okay,
So we can talk about
going to
whatever.
COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know. However, I do think I was negatively long-term affected by it.
Why?
I think one of the side effects of the vaccine was what's it called? Like these very micro, tiny blood clots in your blood.
Okay. I thought you were going to make a joke of some kind.
No,
So I
no,
was
no, no.
going
I'm
to
being
laugh.
dead serious.
Okay.
And that has caused me headaches and dizziness, a slight vertigo for years.
Jeez. And
Right
it
now,
happened at post, like how quickly after the vaccine did you start feeling that?
I don't know, days, and then it got worse. My sister got an extreme allergic reaction to it, and to this day, she still has problems, severe problems, where she can't even walk.
Jesus.
My nephew got the shot, and within hours had to be put on a heart rate monitor because he almost had a heart attack or something with his heart. Now, I want to say this. The vaccines, the COVID vaccine was very safe. Now, I can say that and at the same time say that the risks do not outweigh, the benefits don't outweigh the risks for certain demographics.
Mm-hmm.
And safe does not mean that it can't kill you.
Correct.
Safe does not mean that it cannot cause severe injury.
Tylenol kills like 150
Right.
people a year.
So what safe means when it comes to vaccines is that the vast majority of people will be fine.
Correct.
But with any drug, if the benefit you get from that drug does not outweigh the risk, then you shouldn't take that drug. And when it comes to young people and the COVID vaccine, that was a huge mistake because we knew after 6 months by late 2020, we knew that it affected people over 50, it's for sure over 75. Yep. And that the amount of hospitalization of kids under, let's say, 18 was extremely low. Mm-hmm. Now, the risk, though, of taking the vaccine for all people was at a certain level. In fact, it was 1 out of 700 people had a serious side effect from that vaccine.
But 3.
And well, yeah, just my family. Maybe it's genetic. I don't know. But
interesting.
But if 1 out of 700 people go to the hospital, for example, because they took the vaccine, and the chances of you going to the hospital for getting COVID as a 16-year-old boy, let's say, is 1 in 1,000. Yeah, don't take the vaccine.
Yeah, right.
Because the risks outweigh the reward. Now, what I don't get is the knee-jerk reaction I get from people when I say stuff like this. It's almost like they're religious. How dare you say something like that? The science is in. It was very safe. But I'm using the data. I can actually show you articles of that Pfizer even produced showing that it's about 1 in 700 people go to the hospital or have a very serious side effect with the vaccine. And so that risk reward ratio is not constant for all the age groups. It changes. So now if you're a 75-year-old man, take the vaccine. Yeah. If you're a 15-year-old boy, don't take the vaccine.
I took the non-mRNA one.
Is that Moderna?
Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson.
The one shot. And you know why I took the one shot one?
Because you're smart.
And do you know why I'm smart?
Because someone told you?
Watched, prior to the vaccines being even developed and being available, I watched Brett Weinstein and Heather Hayne on Bill Maher. And they said, if you're going to take the vaccine, take the Johnson & Johnson one, which is an adenovirus delivery mechanism, not the mRNA one. And I did that.
I wish I would. You should have called me. I mean,
I should let you know.
I really regret taking the vaccine. Here's another reason why I regret
Doug,
it.
hold on. We're allowed to talk about the N-word and the gays and all that, but you can't say that you regret taking the vaccine.
Oh, I'd probably say it. And here's another reason why I regret, because I actually think I had natural immunity in February or March of 2020. I think I was one of the first ones in the United States to get it. And here's why. I took my family out to a Chinese buffet
Oh no.
in February of 2020. Maybe it was March.
It's getting too racist.
And there was a whole bunch of Chinese people around me. And they looked like they were Chinese because they weren't speaking a lick of English. And I go home.
Yep.
That's not racist. I go home. My son, within, I think the next day, had a fever of 103. It was so bad. Like, I put my hands on his shins, his calves. They were burning hot. I had to ice down his whole body. And then it hit me. And same thing. It was really bad. And I think it was COVID. No taste, no smell, that whole thing. And then in April of 2020, then the news started circulating about COVID more. And so I think I had natural immunity, which is better than the vaccine. I think if you follow the science, people will finally admit that, because they're finally getting permission to admit these things. And so it was just, it was all risk and no reward for me to get the vaccine.
Well, aren't you glad Dr. Fauci got pardoned?
Oh, you know what's really crazy?
That was insane.
Is the Biden administration pardoning his family for crimes or allegations that are nameless.
Yep.
So it could be true. What's this, Hunter? It could be true that Hunter Biden killed a prostitute 2 years ago, and he's immune from it now.
Yep. That's why I will never take anyone seriously when they say Trump is, the archetype of evil and corruption and all that. It's like, it's all.
I'm still waiting for all the bad stuff to happen. I've been told by the left that we're going to hit depression levels and definitely recession. And remember the stock market dropping? Poof!
Yeah.
Disappeared retirement accounts. And
I
now
watched
it's
the
like,
bull. Well, hold on. I already made this joke to you last time. Never mind. I was gonna make the joke about how when you're retired, all of your money is in equities, and so the amount of money you have is precisely proportional to the stock market. There's no such thing as fixed income. There's no such thing as bonds. You know that. I already made that joke. The bulwark.
oh, that was sarcasm. I got it.
The bulwark. Is like a anti-Trump conservative thing, and they said, I remember watching like 2 days after he announced the tariffs, and they're like, "This is the end. It's the end of America. It's over. It's done." It's just like, you guys are tools.
Let me tell your audience about economists too.
Okay, go ahead.
Economists are as good as a coin flip when predicting the future.
Of course.
So when an economist says Trump's tariffs is going to cause a massive recession or whatever, flip a coin, might be right, might be wrong.
It is interesting.
Don't put so much weight on economists are like religious priests. They each have their own systems.
This is a good question. This is a good question when I argue about libertarian economics with somebody, because I keep trying to get people to I keep trying to find a competent neoliberal economist to talk to. They don't exist. Because I would ask him, what if an economist is supposedly able to predict the economy? Well, no, because they would say the stock market is not the same as the broader economy.
Right.
Because if you can't predict the stock market 3 months from now, why should I believe you can predict the economy, which is more complex than the stock market?
In 2006, Ben Bernanke said, "There's no housing bubble." Federal Reserve Chairman. In 2021, Jerome Powell said, "Inflation is just transitory." These are the top economists, the Federal Reserve Chairman of the United States. Wrong. With this, and I find what's interesting is I find the left tends to cling.
Love experts.
Yeah, they cling to their experts more than the right do.
Credentialism.
What is it?
Credentialism.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, you can only talk about that. Yeah, well, that's why they have DEI experts come in, anti-racist experts come in. Well, don't you know that
Oh.
anti-racist experts? That is yeah. Why is the left? Well, it depends on the. One of the
I,
one of the things that is going to happen over time is the left, the populist left. It's stripping itself of the woke stuff. It's getting back to brass tacks, material analysis. Right? Karl Marx had some good ideas. You agree?
yeah, sure. He probably thought that oatmeal was good in the morning.
No,
I agree with him.
Marxism, the ideology, has good ideas. You agree?
Give me one example.
Alienation of labor is a real thing.
Yeah, you mean basically employers taking advantage of the employees.
No. Specifically, alienation of labor. An employee working for a company feels absolutely no connection to the work they are doing. Whereas, like, it used to be, if I build a chair,
You know, like
I'm
a
a
robot.
craftsman. Yeah. But and then even more so with work from home. I can work for a company
Okay,
doing IT support or HR
but some people
and
like
not
that, Paul.
ever. Correct. But I think by and large, I don't know. That's a good question. Is by and large, I think people,
The older I get, the more I realize some people are,
work from home is good for
most
a lot
people
of
are
people.
not like
Yeah,
us.
totally.
Most people, I would say, just want to go to a place where they're told what to do,
Yeah,
not
of
have to
course.
think, then
That's
go
not,
home and drink a beer.
that's what the evidence would suggest. Most people are high in conscientiousness, low in openness. They like routine and doing
Yeah,
things the way they've been done. Which
yeah.
everyone likes routine to some degree. But Karl Marx had some good ideas. And the left is getting back to its Marxist materialist roots, which I like to see.
Wasn't Karl
Class.
Marx basically a loser, and that's why he liked communism?
I don't think so. I think Karl Marx,
He
well,
couldn't
he
find a
wasn't rich.
job.
His buddy Engels was rich, I believe.
Like if you struggle to finding a job you enjoy or just any job, you're going to lean socialist and communist.
We're wrapping up in the next 2 minutes. I got to go too. Hold on. I'll set up a formal debate between you and
I don't
Destiny.
do formal debates.
I don't mean a formal debate. I mean you. We'll set up a time where I'll
I'll talk to
moderate.
Destiny like you and I are talking right now,
Well,
and you can moderate.
that's how most of them are. So that's how
Yeah.
most of his debates are.
The only thing I think, like
Oh, here we
he
go.
actually leans capitalist, like I do.
Okay.
He, thing we would mostly disagree on is Trump.
Yeah.
He has like a stick up his butt that Trump is a fascist and you can
Debate
never
him up.
vote.
Perfect. That's your pet topic.
But that's so 2024. Like it's so over. Trump won. It's like, do I really want to debate January 6th? Like that's the only date that's on his calendar. Like when he sees December 25th, he thinks January 6th. When he sees Easter, he thinks January 6th. He's a one trick pony.
No, he would absolutely debate all kinds of topics with any of your conservative beliefs. I think he's he's against that. He's for degeneracy and all that.
But the thing is, most politics is down to preference. People have the erroneously have in their head it's about right and wrong. Well, I would say at best it's about more right, less wrong, and it's about personal preference based on values. So, should the government pay for housing for homeless veterans?
Yes.
But that you can't. That's not a right or wrong question. That's my preference. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And most politics is like that. Should the government, should abortion be a right in the country? You can't say that this is right or wrong based on evidence. This is just a preference.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Doug, we've been going for a while. We've been doing a lot of screeds, a lot of nonsense.
It was fun.
It was fun.